So just a friendly little forewarning here. This video might be a little boring. It's mostly just masking and painting. And with that out of the way, let's take a quick little look at this interior tub. In the unboxing, I noted how much that I just hate these molded in straps. Then I got to looking a whole lot closer at the photo etch straps and realized, you know what? Those molded in straps, they're not that bad. Do not get me wrong, that photo etch, it's amazing. The problem is the thickness of it. On my hunt for reference photos, I noticed that these straps, they're a chunk of leather. They're about a half an inch thick. And these photo etch pieces, they're not gonna cut it. So, yeah. Anywho, on to the rest of the build. So I'm going to start this segment like any other build. I'm going to cut out the bigger pieces first and leave the small little fiddly bits on the tree for later, just so I do not lose them. Now, while there is carbon fiber in the interior, the weave on it, the pattern is so tight that you have to be about an inch away from it to realize that it's actually carbon fiber. With that being said, I am not going to waste any of my carbon fiber on something that's not going to be seen all that well. So I'm just going to paint these seat backs in a gloss black. With these in color, I'm going to set them off to the side to dry and move on to the bulk of the interior. For the tan, I've had the best luck with the Tamiya TS46. Later on, I will be showing some of the reference photos I used, and you'll see that this is an almost perfect match for that tan leather that Ferrari uses. And the Tamiya stuff, it covers extremely well, so just 2 coats is really all you need. I set this aside for a full day to dry since I will be covering it in masking tape. Now on the pointy end of this Olfa hobby knife here, well, I guess both sides are pointy. On the handle side, I had sanded it down to make it a little bit more pointy so I could burnish the tape down in these tighter areas a little bit better. Ah, no, how can this be? So I spent about an hour masking off these seats, making sure that everything is done perfect. Then I looked at my reference photos and realized, damn it, I masked off the wrong parts. So yeah, redo. Now with 90% of the masking done, finally, we can move on to spraying some more paint. And that, of course, is going to be Tamiya Semi-Gloss Black. It is such a versatile color, it could be used for almost anything. If you guys remember in the last video, I talked about maybe bringing a music bag for these long segments where I don't have anything to say. Then I mentioned something about ASMR. I finally figured out what that means. From my understanding, it's a series of annoying noises that give certain people a special tingle inside their body. Like whispering or tearing paper. It just makes them feel all warm and fuzzy inside. It's it's not for me. I used to shoot guns for a living, so I'm kind of hard of hearing. So I will not be doing the ASMR thing, even though that's all the rage these days. So in these long, boring segments like this, I will either just shut up or find something to babble about. I have mentioned this before, but the good thing about acrylic paint is that it's rather soft until it fully dries. So if you get some overspray or some bleed through, you could just scrape it off with a toothpick. It will not hurt anything around it. And if for some reason you guys get the opposite of overspray, underspray, I don't know what that'd be called. Those areas you could just lightly touch them up with a Sharpie, and once the Sharpie dries, it will almost perfectly blend in with that Tamiya X18. Since the stitching on these seats is so prominent, I'm just going to go through it with some Tamiya panel line accent. So take your time on this so you do not have a lot of cleanup. Eventually, you will have something that looks like this. And I kind of like the way that turned out, so I had done the rest of the interior bits in the same manner. And I know I said it before, but man, guys, everything is fitting perfectly for a Revell kit. These even had those same tabs and slots like the engine had. And one thing I noticed about the interior, the steering wheel, the emblem there, it's got a black ring around it. I am not going to want to paint that, so I am just going to put a little dab of that panel line accent inside that little hole. And with the power of YouTube voodoo, that's instantly dry. Yeah, my transition wasn't that smooth, but you guys get the point. And one thing I started doing a few builds ago, on all these emblems, I'd start putting a little dollop of UV resin on them, so once it hardens, it looks like a true 3D emblem. The problem I'm running into now is the 5-second fix I used, the tip is starting to rust, so it's got a yellow tint to it. I am being super wasteful running all that out until I get clear resin. I guess on a yellow decal, I probably didn't have to waste all that now that I think about it. I also noticed for some reason that is glowing extra bright. It's never done that before. I thought maybe it was just time to replace this UV glue, so I'm doing some little science experiments here. None of this stuff is glowing, so I thought maybe it was just micro set. I didn't let it fully dry because I was in kind of a hurry. I thought maybe it was this stuff from the way it was looking through the bottom there, so I pulled just a tiny tad bit of it out to test it. It is not this stuff either that's reacting like that. So I thought maybe it was the LED itself catching its own reflection. That kind of looks like it. But no, when I shine it back on the actual steering wheel there, it'll do it from any angle. So that leaves just one thing. The decals. Yeah, these react to an ultraviolet light for whatever reason. Learning can be fun. Anywho, science class is over, guys. Let's get back to work here. I also noticed on the photo etcher, the stuff with the blue backing on it, these are actually adhesive metal transfers. I have been using hobby design products for years, and not once has this stuff ever worked like this. So I'm not sure if this is by design and all my other photo etch bits have just lost their tackiness over the years, or if this just picked up some of the adhesive from the backing paper. I'm not sure. If any of you guys do build this and you use the photo etch, the flappy paddle piece there, it is considerably thinner than a stock piece. So make sure you shave down that mounting tab for the steering wheel, otherwise you're going to have a big gap there. And with the photo etch floor panel insert things installed, it is just basic assembly as per the instructions. Done. As I said at the start there, I do know masking and painting is rather boring. So if you guys made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I should have the finale coming out rather soon, but in the meantime though, have a good night guys.